Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Yabba dabba doo. Luke Taylor here, Full Court Press Podcast. Hey, college basketball experience. My guy Sammy D.
What's up, LT?
You know what? I said I had a rough day yesterday, and I'm listening to more music, and it just makes me, it just kind of gets me in check. So, yeah. What's that?
You've been vibing with some good music, huh?
I have, and we got a great guest. I can't believe college basketball season is literally almost a month plus that it's been over.
But
hold on,
is it ever over? There's no games, but
don't we rest in May? Don't we rest in May? We rest in May.
No, only slackers rest in May. It's all good, man. We're bringing the heat full year round.
Whoa. Yeah, it's been tough to kind of put some worthwhile posts in there. The one I did the final mid-major College Insider top 25, and we got a lot of great comments. And people are really annoyed. There's a certain percentage of people are annoyed when we don't have certain teams or leagues in there. For instance, the Mountain West, the Atlantic 10 especially, and the American Conference. And I've tried to explain, and I've explained nicely, and I get it. Okay, I totally get it. As you know, I sent an email to the A10 office, and I got a response, a very curt response, to the point that everybody considers it high major or basketball-centric conference. Mm-hmm. It's a multi-bid league, but they did get 2 bids. But here's the problem. In the mid-major poll, you have 25 to 30 head coaches that vote every week during season. And the West Coast Western Collegiate Conference, the WCC, is considered mid-major with Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and then obviously who we've had, San Francisco, who's a pretty darn good team too. And it's going to be adding Grand Canyon and Seattle to the conference.
It's a good conference, and I think a lot there's kind of rumor mills or messages out there that there's big East Coast bias in a lot of these like rankings because a lot of the West Coast teams don't play till later, right? So there's not a lot of visibility with a lot of the country, but yeah, I mean, some of these programs turned up big. I mean, especially the Mountain West this past year. They got 6 teams in the NCAA tournament, and
what'd they do in the NCAA tournament though?
Yeah, I mean, they had a tough run with it, but
but they made it.
They made it, and yeah, it's like you have this changing dynamic of conferences, right? You've got the Power 5, Power 6, and then you have these kind of high major conferences that we call, that are very basketball centric. The majority of the programs in these high major conferences have really good, strong budgets and are building good NIL programs for their basketball program. And I think kind of where that lays is I think that needs to be taken into consideration with, how some of these rankings happen and where the voting happens and all that. But yeah, some pretty powerful fan bases out there in the A10, huh?
Yeah. Especially, well, you look at like Duquesne's got a really great fan base. We obviously had Coach Joyce. I posted a couple things and got a lot of nice messages like thanks for, taking the time for, talking and promoting Duke's basketball. And I mean, that's always nice. I know SLU, we'll hopefully have Coach Shirts on again. SLU's going to be really exciting to watch. Coach Grant, we're supposed to have him on from Dayton. They will probably reload. They were worried they're going to lose a couple players. They did. They lost Kobe Barea to Kentucky, but they brought back Nate Santos, who I think is just who's going to have a big year in the A10. Then you obviously have George Washington. with Coach Caputo, and George Mason had a great year, and you've got UMass who's in there for one more year, and he lost a player or two, but brought back and added teams. So I think the A10 is going to be a very good. I mean, Virginia Commonwealth's a great program. Richmond, I mean, it's going to be a good year for the A10. And I think this other conference that we're going to talk about today, but I have to say, if you love the podcast, you like the podcast, if you think I'm somewhat palatable, just like my wife of almost 20 years and my co-host and one of my closest friends, Sam Davidson, thinks, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Hit that freaking red button under if you're watching this on YouTube.
5
just
stars.
Pound it. 5-star reviews.
Yes.
Sam likes 5 stars.
Love 5-star reviews. Yeah.
You know what happened to the last person that gave us less than a 5-star review?
It's been a while.
They had a lot of poopings on their front yard and they don't own a dog.
Yeah. It wasn't me.
No. Shout out to the Kubiak clan in Ann Arbor. They gave us a couple reviews and good people. And I
love it.
Because I got to make sure like your kid's not listening, or I think one of my sons listens once in a while. So I got to be very PG, but don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Tweets. It's kind of interesting to see the different scheduling announcements. I saw came out that Memphis is playing at San Francisco. University.
Oh, nice. Coach G's get Memphis out there. It's great.
Yeah, and Memphis has got a squad, and I think this is going to be the year where Coach Anthony Hardaway it's going to be make or break year this year for him. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, he had a good team last year as well. I think he's doing a really good job putting a lot of these transfers in. I mean, they've got a really nice NIL budget over at Memphis. And they had several pretty rough weeks this past season that could have easily been flipped, with some close games and whatnot. And like you said, I mean, this year it's really show how good of a coach Hardaway is with the squad he's putting together. But I mean, you talk about scheduling, NIL, coaching carousel, like
transfer portal, like
this is one of the, like, you would think this is a time for some of these coaches to like relax. This is probably their busiest time of year right now.
Yep.
It's especially when you're going into a new team.
Yep.
So, which, there's, I think 65 new coaches.
Yeah. This week, we don't know how many there'll be next week.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it was, just pretty wild what's happened up in Wyoming, just in a span of a couple days.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole Green Bay hiring one of us, I guess, per se?
Yeah, I mean, Gottlieb has a little bit more basketball experience than us, but it's I mean, I don't know who else. I mean, who else are they going to call and hire? I mean, that's going to be a tough team for any coach to be able to start this late in the process. Like that's a tough job for any coach to put their
fact that he's still going to do his radio show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
2 hours a day. So it's, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, he's got a Rolodex that's probably comparable to any head coach out there. And so, I mean, that does stand for something when you're recruiting players, whether at a high school or through the transfer portal. But yeah, great episode coming up. Great guest here. What
conference are we going to talk about? Our favorite conference, the Mountain West, baby.
Mountain West, man. I'm up in Fort Collins, Colorado State land, and I love the Mountain West. I got you hooked on the Mountain West last year.
I do. I love it. And this coach who we got loves the Mountain West too. He loves the Celtics, which is bullshit because he's from Cleveland. And he loves the Mountain West.
He's best friends with Joe Mazzulla, who's the head coach. That would be like,
it was his best man at his wedding.
Listen,
whatever.
If you took a head coaching job at a program that I wasn't,
you would root against me.
I would not root against you. I would. I would
heckle me.
I would heckle you, but I would paint my house whatever colors that you are representing. I'll put it that way.
All right. So anybody that has an open coaching job, either paid or unpaid, please hire me. And I hope you're purple and orange because I want to see Sam. I want to see Sam convincing his wife that he can paint his house purple and orange.
I'd make it happen for you.
Yeah, you'd be out of that house in about 2 days.
I'll paint the back door for you. How about that?
So I have, okay, I appreciate it. So I have a little history with his previous team, Youngstown State. We got Coach Jerrod Calhoun from Utah State. Great coach, very dynamic. He's going to continue what the Aggies have built the last 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, it's going to, and you look about the whole stability thing, right? He was at Youngstown State for 7 years. He was at Fairmont State for a while, West Virginia for 5 years. So I just don't see him having another great year like Sprinkle did and left and leave. I think the fan base is awesome.
We
which you
think he's
talked
going to
about.
have another great year like they've had. But yeah, the longevity piece is something Utah State has kind of battled with the last 3 to 4 years. With the retention of coaches when they have a good year. It's I think the alumni and boosters are kind of tired of helping coaches get this great of a program built. I mean, their student section's insane. Like they call it the herd.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's just an incredible atmosphere out there. And I think this was an excellent hire for Utah State to bring Jerrod Calhoun in there. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fantastic hire. And to, like I said, it's a lot of these coaching vacancies. You're not going into a program that was 28-7 like Utah State was, and so like they have greatness. They have the support there. They
played Purdue tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they scheduled tough.
No, they lost by almost 29 or 39 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
still whatever. They're still a good team.
Yeah, Purdue's, I mean, what Utah State has built there the last 3 or 4 years and the national reputation that they've garnered, I think Coach Calhoun is just the perfect fit for not just continuing that, but building on top of it.
Yeah, but he also is bringing back 3 starters. I mean, that's that in itself, because, and we talked about it. There's a couple programs like DePaul, Louisville, who else? Arkansas had one. I mean, there was others where they had to literally start from nothing. Yeah. And it's really impressive that he was able to bring back 4 or 5 guys from a team that went 28-7 and had, Coach Sprinkle, they had a great year.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, let's get into it. I mean, we've been talking for 12 minutes. I think our audience wants to hear from Coach Calhoun. What do you think?
No, they don't want to hear from me. I got some more stories, but anyway, enjoy the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and check out the Aggies and Coach Calhoun in year number 1 of the Aggie.
Let's get it, LT.
So, Sam, this next guest goes from being a Penguin, actually a Viking, to a Bearcat, to a Cavalier, to a Mountaineer, to I don't know what the hell Fairmont State is, to a Penguin,
Falcons.
To now an Aggie. What was Fairmount State, Coach?
Falcons. The Falcons.
Falcons. Wow.
We got Coach Calhoun from Utah State University, the Aggies, joining us on the Full Court Press podcast. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, that was a very, very nice introduction. A lot of logos there. Didn't realize.
Yeah, a lot of logos. What would you say is your favorite logo then of all these teams you've either coached or played for?
The Aggies.
It's got to be the Aggies now.
Yeah.
So,
this is how we're going to start, huh? So my first question, I'm just going to get to the point.
Yeah.
Who would you take in a fight, Bobby Huggins or Rolly Massimino?
Coach Huggins. He's got obviously the height advantage, but both guys are very intense. I could tell you that.
Yeah.
Nice. So Coach Calhoun, talk a little bit about what the last month or so has been for you. The initial conversations, interviewing or putting your name in for the Utah State job. Like, did they contact you? What were those initial conversations? And, at the end of the day, like what was so appealing about coming to Utah State, especially after the super successful season that they had this past year?
Sam, have you seen the campus?
My wife has been up there and she's like, yeah, it's really nice. So, yeah.
So, Sam, I would say this, obviously the coaching carousal every year, there's 50 to 60 jobs every single year. Certainly was not, out job hunting. I could tell you that. I've interviewed for multiple jobs over the last 3 years. None of them really felt like it was a fit, right? I think so many of these things are about fit. When you really, get down to it, Utah State's one of the best jobs in the country. The coaches that have been here, the tradition that's been laid out, the foundation that's been set by all the former players, the conference, I think, is at an all-time high. Unbelievable coaches inside the Mountain West. The process was very thorough. It was awesome to be on the Zoom with the committee. And then ultimately, you have to be aligned with your administration. So when I met Diana Sabo, I could not believe, her vision, her attention to detail. It really just aligned with some of the things that I was looking for.
Yeah. So I actually saw you play once or twice last year at Youngstown State, and you're a really fun team to watch. I mean, DJ Burns, Ziggy Reed, Rush, I think Thompson was your point guard. So it's just fun. Are you gonna kind of take that style of play and carry it over, or you kind of just, with the players you've brought in, you've obviously had some guys come back from Utah State, and then you got some new guys coming in. Are you going to kind of change your style, or that's always been your style?
Wow, I'm very impressed with your knowledge of the Penguins last year.
Yeah,
that is really good. I haven't had, I've done a few interviews here in the last 45 days, but nobody nailed 4 starters. The only one you left off was Bryson Langdon.
Yep, he was okay.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I think our style of play really fits in this generation, right? If you talk to anybody in the transfer portal or in high school, they all talk about scoring the ball. So our whole offense is predicated on find, create, keep advantages, spacing. We want to play fast, but we want to play efficient. We want our guys to be able to, really understand, what our offense is going to be about. And it's really changed. I'd say the last 3 years, we've been one of the better offenses in the country. Last year, we were 24th in the country. The year before, we were 5th in scoring. I think it fits the Mountain West. I think, it's attractive to players. And it's, you got to have some balance. You got to have some bench guys, because we are play pretty fast and, play a few guys.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting to see how that game translates. What did you kind of know about the Mountain West your last, couple years, especially with how especially this year, the Mountain West had done so well during the season with, Nevada, New Mexico, obviously Utah State, Colorado State, even Boise State. What was your kind of impression of the Mountain West?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you asked that. If I wasn't watching the Boston Celtics at night, I was watching the Mountain West.
Whoa. You're from Cleveland.
Yep. What, are you questioning my love for the Celtics?
No, I'm questioning your love for your hometown team.
Well, I watched both teams, but Joe Mazzulla, the coach of the Celtics, I was the best man in his wedding, and he was on my staff for a year. I watched the Cavs because of Mike Gansey. He was one of my good friends growing up. So I do watch. Celtics are 1, Cavs are 2. It was tough last week seeing the Cavs bounced by the Celtics. I was hoping they were going to play in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I watched probably over 20 to 25 Mountain West games. Those 9 o'clock starts were awesome.
Wow. Yes.
I love, where I'm from, when I get the kids to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I fell in love with the league. I think there's a real purity to it. I think there's great coaching. The styles of play, I think there's some contrasting styles. Great offensive coaches, great defensive coaches. Great environments, right? What makes great leagues are the great environments that you can play in. Obviously, the league last year was, as good as anybody in the country. So it's an honor to coach in this league. Yeah.
Did you reach out to Sundance Wicks before when he got the job at Wyoming?
Yeah, we talk all the time. The Juice Man, he and I have become pretty close. He did a phenomenal job in his very short period of time there. Really respect what he built. Recruited an unbelievable player in Noah Reynolds, and really transformed that program. So I said I think I teased him. I said I can't shake you. We were 1-1. We should have been 2-0. He may have a different opinion on it, but they beat us on the last second sideline out of bounds. That still haunts me because we probably would have won another league title. So, but he'll do a great job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Coach, what's the last couple of weeks been like? You've signed some new guys to the team. Tucker Anderson, Drake Allen, Braden Housley. Talk a little bit about the squad that you're putting together just in this first month. You can talk about the coaching staff as well, because there's been some guys who have stayed, some new guys you brought in. What's kind of the blueprint that you're focused on with this team?
Well, the coaching staff has become very, very close. We've been staying in a basement for about 45 days. I rented an Airbnb for the staff, so we've got 3 rooms, 1 bathroom.
Wait, Coach, do you know Coach McNamara at Siena?
Yeah.
Because they literally, he calls it, they have this apartment. It's like, dude, it's called the dorm. It's like the dorm room.
And he's like, yeah, we have a fraternity. It's like a frat house now, because it's like you guys are just in there. It's like we need to get rid of the podcast league. Let's just hold retreats every like April and May, so all the coaches can get together and kind of do their thing. But yeah, keep going, Coach. Sorry
about that.
No, you're good. You're good. I love hearing these stories. Somebody asked me how Logan was the other day, and I said, well, I only know about my Airbnb and I know about my office. That's about it. So no, it's been a lot of fun. Putting a team together is really what makes it, right? You try to go out and you find guys that really want to be Aggies, really want to be part of what we're trying to do here. And, the biggest thing was to retain the current players. Obviously these guys are coming off probably the best season, the best season in school history. So to have that winning DNA, to have guys that want to be here with Mason and Ian and Carson and, Isaac Johnson and, those 4 guys will be the catalysts because they've been there and done it in the Mountain West, and all 4 players, I think, really fit how we play. They did an unbelievable job on the visits as these kids came in, these newcomers, and really meshed with them, and we wanted to make sure that we had people that, really bought into what we were trying to do here. So I think we're able to do that in the portal. We have 11 scholarships. We're kind of working through that right now. Do we sign another one? Do we sign 2 more or maybe no more? I think more and more coaches are going away from having 13 active players. So we'll see what happens here the next week or 2.
Yeah, it's interesting, and especially in the landscape, there was more jobs than there ever were this year, and there's more teams like DePaul who had 0. Like Coach Holtman started from 0. Coach Calipari, I think he had 1 guy at Arkansas.
Yeah,
so you're seeing
Louisville, I think he had 0.
Yeah, same thing. So obviously, did you have to sell these guys? I mean, I know we talked a little bit last week about Great Osborne. How were these conversations with the guys that have left, like a Great Osborne, and the guys that actually stayed?
Yeah, well, what we did is we worked the guys out for 2 straight weeks, whether you were in the portal or not. So even the guys that already entered the portal, part of our 4 hours on the court, we just wanted to make sure the guys were staying in shape. We wanted them to understand how we play, and it worked out really well because we got a chance to see what certain guys can do. And then also they got to feel us out as well. And then I think it's about, hearing their story. What do these guys want? Some of them are 3-year players. Some of them are 1-year players. What do they want their college experience to look like, right? Part of the transfer portal is you have options. You certainly have different options to transfer. But the most important thing is when building a team, you got to get guys that want to be part of your team. And we feel like we're able to do that with those 4 returning guys. 3 starters and a guy that I think will play big minutes for us, off of last year's team. That we had 3 starters and a guy that came off the bench. I think he played in 24 of the 31 games in Carson Templin, and he's got great upside. I think he fits our system great. So we're really excited about, those catalysts. And then as you talk about the new guys and Drake Allen, an older player that really knows how to pass the ball. Dayton Albury can do the same thing. He can play multiple positions. Same thing with Braden Housley. Tucker Anderson is a versatile player. He can play multiple positions. We just added Dexter Acano from Oregon State. Same thing. He can play multiple positions. He can drive the ball, shoot the ball, play out of pick and rolls. And then Alban Gadaretsky, the big kid from Stetson, coming off the best season in school history. I thought Donnie did an unbelievable job with that group. So we were able to sign a high school player, from Utah, and Isaac Davis, formerly was committed to BYU. So, you want to get some balance right in there. We got some young guys, in Braden, Tucker, and Isaac. Carson Templin is kind of in that class now. That sophomore class could be really special with Mason as well. So we got 4 or 5 really good young kids in the program, and then we've got some older guys. So want a good balance of development guys, and then certainly you want to get some guys that you can stay old with, and have some experience.
Yeah. Would you say your recruiting philosophy has kind of changed this year, just because of, you were in a mid major, now you're at a high major. It seemed like the mid majors were kind of like the minor, and no disrespect, because I was a mid major athlete. Do you like? Are you looking at the high school kids like you used to look at maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, or you're like, now you've got to build a program to win right away? But in future years, is there kind of a philosophy you're going to kind of develop?
It's a great question. I think there has to be some balance, guys, in what you're doing. I really do. And I think Utah State's a place that kids really don't want to leave once we get them here. We've got one of the best fan bases in the country, if not the best.
Absolutely.
There's not a better home court advantage, in college basketball. The Herd, our student section, I'd put up against anybody in the country. It's a very, very hard place to play, right? So there's a passion, there's a history here. As you guys know, this conference, when you're going around and playing in some of these environments, whether it's the Pit or wherever it is, this is high major basketball, as you said. And I'm glad you said that, because some people don't think that. But when you start to get 6 bids at the NCAA tournament, that just kind of backs that up. So, no, we'll balance it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I live out in Mountain West country. I'm on a bunch of these message boards, which I probably shouldn't be, but it's a distraction, right? It's like when
he starts shit on these, coach. He ruffles feathers.
Just like, wow, that was aggressive. But it's the Utah State fans, like you said, there are some of the best in the country, even from rival schools saying that. And then when you go in there and play for the first time in the Herd, it's like Utah State has become one of the biggest basketball kind of powerhouses, like especially when you're there and you see it. A lot of these message boards and, alumni and boosters, like, when Coach Sprinkle left, they were like, Utah State's just a stepping stone. All these coaches are leaving. It's like they come here, they do a great job, we show our support, and they're frustrated, right? Like, what's kind of your message to them, with kind of why you took the position and kind of what you're looking to build long term there?
That's a great, I feel that. I got a haircut, I think about 45 days ago, and the barber in town said, "Coach, how many haircuts am I going to be able to cut?" So I shared that story with a group of donors the other day. I think, the way I build it and the way our family is right now, this move was tough. As you start to lay your roots and you really get entrenched in a city, Youngstown was unbelievable, from President Tressel to our athletic director to the boosters to the community. You're talking about something that hasn't been done in 30 years that we were able to accomplish there, right? So we're a family that really, really gets involved in the community, whether it's going to football games, volleyball games, basketball games, local United Way, you name it. My family's at a point now where we want to get our kids through high school. I think Utah State is a place you can win a national championship. The biggest thing we have to stay upbeat on and have a pulse on is the NIL landscape, right? We had an event yesterday that really, really pleased with the way it went. Got a call tonight with all the former Aggie players, managers, and coaches. Really want to get them involved in this program. So, I learned a lot of it. I'll be honest, I learned a lot of it from Bob Huggins, Raleigh Massimino, and Jim Tressel. I thought those three guys, and really Jeff Young at Walsh University, I was very, very lucky to work for these guys, play for Coach Mass, understand how to run a program on a day-to-day basis, whether it's, your player relationships, your fundraising, your X and O's, just the whole thing. And the way I was brought up, I had to do a lot of those jobs. I was a student manager. I was a walk-on. I was director of basketball operations. I was an assistant. I was a Division II head coach. So I've got a lot of experience doing it. And I always have my feet where I'm at. And when I wake up every day, whether it's in the Airbnb or the Holiday Inn Express here in Logan, now that I moved into, I'm excited to be here. And I don't think about any of that. I think about what do we got to get done today.
Yeah. I think we're just about to sell a sponsorship today, Sam, to the Holiday Inn Express in Logan, Utah.
I'll tell you this, they got some great rooms. It looks like you're in a boat. I've never been in a Holiday Inn Express with like 25-foot ceilings. It's a unique experience out here.
You could put a basketball hoop in there.
Oh, 2 of them. I'm telling you, it's something. I'll have to take a picture and show you later.
Yeah. So when you took the job and you went into your office for the first time, was there any note from Coach Sprinkle, or did you get any call from him or text or anything?
Yeah, no note. But I can tell you this: he's been unbelievable. I've talked to him several times. Really congratulated him on the great Osabor news. Got a chance to see him. Believe it was at the Final Four. At an Aggie party where all the former coaches were there. Stu Morrill has been unbelievable. Ryan Odom has been awesome. Craig Smith actually texted me the other day about buying Utah State camp balls that he found in a shed. I said, come on, Craig, you can't be that cheap. You got to ship those things back. It's just amazing. It's a really good fraternity of coaches. And then we've had all the former players come back. All the local ones I've met with at least 3 to 4 a week. But no note from Coach Sprinkle, but a beautiful office. I'm in here now overlooking the mountains. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a previous history, like working relationship with Diana Sabo? And I know she has really strong Ohio roots, and it seems like Utah State's taking the best out of Ohio now and moving
I didn't know Diana.
Okay.
I did not know her at all. So, I kind of met her through the process.
Great.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about NIL and the transfer portal. Obviously for the last couple of weeks, we had Frank Martin, who you've probably know personally and probably worked with. And then we've had, Coach Joyce, who and numerous others, Conzo Martin. We kind of talked a little bit about scheduling. Okay. Is that kind of a really big issue for a lot of coaches, just trying to schedule, especially with not knowing how your roster is going to lay out this year?
Yeah, I think where we're at in the Mountain West, we're obviously going to have some great quad 1, quad 2 opportunities in league play. But it's probably going to be my philosophy to play at least 4, possibly 5 quad 1, quad 2. So if we don't get those in the MTE that we're going to play in or hopefully get in here soon, we'll try to schedule some home and homes or neutral sites. I think what you're seeing more and more of are the neutral site opportunities being put together by third parties, meeting the other team halfway. So scheduling is a little bit like the portal. It's a little bit crazy right now. You have so many teams that are dropping out of tournaments, a lot of these MTEs, a lot of people scrambling. We're excited. We've got a quad 2 or quad 1, quad 2 opportunity coming into Logan. Can't say who yet, but got to finalize that. I truly believe they'll be.
What does it rhyme with?
Oh, I can't do it. Our fans would, as soon as they hear this, they'll be speculating. But, then we're going to play another really good one on the road. So I think we have 2 to get, and then possibly a third, which would give us 5. We want to play some people. There's you want to get a good seed in the NCAA tournament. You want to advance. I think it's all about. You got to play some guys. You can't shy away. So we'll certainly have a good schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, LT?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's put them through some persecution.
You got some questions lined up?
I do.
So,
I do.
so, Coach, we do a little segment of our show where LT is just going to fire off 6 or 7 questions really fast and hopefully easy. First thing that comes to your mind, just let it rip. And if there's something more you want to share to any of the answers, a little story, feel free to do so. But most of these are pretty
I'm
fun.
ready, man. Let's see what
All
you
right,
got.
fire
All
away,
right.
LT.
And Sam doesn't know any of these. So the first question is Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms?
Lucky Charms.
Are
Love the marshmallows.
Yes, are magically delicious. One arena you've always wanted to coach in that you haven't.
That's a good one. I'd say probably Kansas.
Yeah.
Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, that's one of the top. Greatest recruiting win.
I'm probably going to say Robert Whaley from Cincinnati to Walsh because he ended up playing in the NBA and winning a national championship for us at Walsh.
He was a big guy, wasn't he?
6'10". Yeah, it's got to be number 1, I would think.
Was he number 54 at Cincinnati?
Yeah. But there's been a lot. There's been a lot of recruiting wins.
Yeah. Funniest recruiting story that you can at least share with us. We've had bad chili. We've had.
I got a great one. So Joe Mazzulla was on staff, I believe, and Mantoris Robinson, I believe, was on that staff. You know, it all runs together. So this was years ago at Fairmont State. Back then, we didn't have the budget to fly. So I drove like 10 and a half, 11 hours to see a kid in North Carolina. Got to the gym a little bit early, about 45 minutes early. There was a volleyball game. So I left, went to the local coffee shop, came back. Another volleyball was going on. Realized that I drove 18 hours, and there was no game. And then driving home, got a speeding ticket. So nonetheless, was not happy with the assistant coaches sending me to a game that didn't exist.
Yeah. And are any of them on your staff now?
Yeah, they are. 2 of them. Yeah, they are. 2 of them.
And did you sign the kid?
We did not. We did not sign that kid.
No. Okay. One word to describe the Horizon League.
I'm going to say with all the different defenses, with what Coach Horn does, Coach Campy, I'm going to say very dynamic. It's a dynamic league because it's hard to game plan.
Now we're going to see what your kryptonite is. One coach you really hate facing or playing.
Oh, this is easy. He tormented me for years, and I joked about it. Speaking at the Final Four this year, Jim Crutchfield. So back in the day at Fairmont State, it was us, Wheeling. Haywood Highsmith played at Wheeling, obviously played in the NBA. Yeah. At one point, we were all 1, 2, 3 in the country one season in the Mountain East Conference. People had no idea how good that Division II league was. And if they ran it like the Division III tournament, we would have probably seen West Liberty at an Elite 8 or possibly a Final Four. Well, they do the region to save money, and we would just constantly play those guys. So I think our final record in our 5 years was like 3-9 against Jim Crutchfield. So he tormented me for years.
Yeah, maybe he'll be on staff of every Mountain West team this year. If they made a barbecue sauce after you, what would be? Look at Sam's laughing. What would it be?
I haven't heard this one before.
Boy, that's a weird one. I have a friend back in Youngstown. He actually has his own barbecue sauce, Giarrusa sauce.
Yep. I know Giarrusa. Yep.
Yeah. He was one of our good friends there in Youngstown. And actually, Coach Campy, funny story, we're in there eating one night before our game. We'd always get together the night before we played. And he fell in love with the restaurant called Aquapazzo. And he discovered that he was ordering his barbecue sauce, and it had no sugar. I'd say my sauce, I'd like it, just normal. I don't like a lot of hot or, I'm kind of a simple guy when it comes to that.
Okay. See, so you go, Sam. Sam's laughing at me. Sauce. Yeah. Yes, sauce. Okay. One word to describe Coach Huggins, Coach Massimino, and Coach Campy.
I would say Coach Huggins. I would say Very, very. Let me think of the word. Determined. Determined. I'd say a very determined guy. Going to figure it out no matter what. Coach Massimino, I'd say very dynamic. He had a big personality. And Coach Campy, I would say very real. I don't know if there's many coaches nowadays that just keep it real. When we talked or hung out, I mean, we pretty much talk every week now. He's kind of abandoned me, though. I joked with him the other day. Now that I'm out in the Mountain West, he didn't call me all the time. I think he wanted all my recruiting scoop, who I was getting in the offseason. And he ignored me in the run, but I understood that one. But he became a really good friend.
Yeah, we got to know him. I was out in Pittsburgh, and what a unique and just a great dude. And then we've had him on the podcast, and just, you don't realize you're talking to a head basketball coach that's been around for the same school for 40 years. We were talking about music. Didn't he talk about going to a Bob Dylan concert by himself in Detroit?
Yeah, I think so.
I got a great one. So my chief of staff and I, we went to Detroit. He wanted me to speak at a clinic, so we went up the night before. Took us around the city. We were supposed to go to the it's called the Detroit, I forget, it's like Detroit, it overlooks the Lions Field. He said, hey, make sure you dress really nice. We'll have dinner overlooking the baseball stadium up there, not Lions Field, but it's all right there. Beautiful place. So I put jeans on and a sports jacket. Well, long story short, they don't allow jeans. So we're off to a great start. He's mad we can't go in there. Now we're walking around the city where he lives. He lives in downtown Detroit. I don't know if he told you that, but knows everybody on the street. They all know him. So we're eating, and he gets a call from his dog sitter. I think the dog sitter got locked out. So she had to come get the key to get the dog back in the house or something. I think he lives in a high rise there. But no, he's a unique guy. That's for sure.
Yeah. So what song would best describe you?
Ooh, I like a lot of songs. I'm a huge country guy. I don't know. That would be a tough one. I'm a country guy through and through. I don't know if I can answer that. Too many.
I didn't realize people from East Liverpool listen to country.
Yeah, I would think they're more rap down there now. But
yeah.
I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Cleveland, so I was only there. My parents were split up, divorced pretty young. So my mom moved to Cleveland. My dad stayed down there in Liverpool. Yeah. Okay. Do you know the lay of land down there on the river? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah. I guess you can listen to some rap country like Nelly and stuff. So last question. They're making a Hollywood movie about your life. Who would play you?
You know what? I've heard other people say that. I like Denzel Washington. I'm a Denzel guy.
I can see it.
Yeah, I like Brad Pitt. I like all those guys. I like guys who've been around and just the other guy I like is Will Ferrell. I think Will Ferrell's hilarious, but he would probably play campy. I'd say Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell would make a great campy.
What did Campy say? What was his answer to that one?
What did Campy say?
Or you forget it.
He did say somebody was funny. No. We asked him. Yeah, Trey Townsend. Yeah,
we asked him about Trey Townsend and Jack.
Trey Townsend was Denzel.
Yeah,
Goldie was I can't remember now, and I can't remember what he said he was. But it was he was
I like Vince Vaughn too.
Oh no, it was Michael Douglas.
Oh. Michael Douglas, yes. Yeah. Michael Douglas was campy.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
People said he said that. So, Coach, you won nothing, you got nothing, and I'm going to turn it over to Sam.
Yeah, Coach, we appreciate you having on the podcast. Last thing, we're just going to give you the platform. Anything you want to share with the Utah State, alumni, boosters, fan base, student section, any message to those guys?
Yeah, just honored and humbled every day to be the coach here at Utah State. Great tradition. I think the number one fan base in the country. We've got to meet all the herd, and as we go the next couple months, can't wait to get out in the community. We've got some things planned, and we're going to do some open practices to get the fan base kind of seeing how we want to play. And we're going to do the best we can every day to make Aggie Nation proud.
Yeah.
Love it.
Coach.
Some of those
Yep.
some of those open practices are some of the most fun things as a fan to go to. So I do encourage anybody up in Logan to go to those, get to know the coach, the players, the system, and all that. So we appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, let's hook up in Colorado.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Or I might just come to Logan and participate in one of these open practices.
My basement will be done in about 2-3 months. So wait till the preseason. I got a room for you. You can stay with me.
All right,
Love
Coach, thanks so much. You're going to stick with us just one more second after we end. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching another Full Court Press podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll be back hopefully next week if Sam doesn't fire me, because I'm on the edge of being fired. But I guess you can't fire someone when you're not paying them. So thanks again, Coach. Best of luck. We look forward to watching you in the Mountain West as you go for Mountain West and NCAA glory.